Hello, and thank you for watching this midweek ag forecast brought to you by Agrible, the makers of Morning Farm Report. My name is Eric Snodgrass, and I'm Senior Atmospheric Scientist and co-founder of Agrible. Well, let's start here. One thing that March has been is that it has been very full of active and severe weather. Each dot on this map represents a separate severe weather report, and we've had a lot of tornadoes, a lot of hail, and a lot of strong winds. They come from a few big events, one that hit right here in the heart of the Corn Belt, and several that have gone across the eastern kind of half of the country right over and through here. Now, over the last few days, we've even seen more severe weather spread into this part of the country, and they're going to update this map very soon with those severe weather reports, but here's what they look like. On March 28th, nasty line of severe storms broke out in parts of Texas and Oklahoma, producing very strong winds and several reports of tornadoes. With time, these storms have kind of translated east over here toward the lower Mississippi River Valley, getting into March 29th. We're going to watch this system continue to move off to the east throughout the rest of the week. But before we get into the analysis of that precipitation and what it holds for the coming days, I want to go back to our U.S. Drought Monitor. We got to keep a close eye on this through the entire growing season. Now, we have been watching the drought set up across the central part of the country now for several weeks, in fact, several months. And this has hung on for most of winter. We've talked about it a lot. Now, I want you to see it because what we've had over the last few days is going to go a long way into helping this. See, those spring rains can really erase a drought like this pretty quickly. Let's take a look at what it's done so far. Here's the last 7 days of accumulated precipitation. So this is valid through early in the morning on the 30th of March. A large section of that same area that had drought in the latest drought monitor, which was put out last Thursday, clearly shows we've seen here a better than 2 inches of rain. This is going to hit fields where we grow a lot of wheat hard. This is going to be very good spring rains for those fields, increasing those yields, but it's also going to work on eliminating, not completely, but getting rid of a lot of that drought in the middle part of the country, which is a big concern for me later in this season as we talk about how we grow corn and soybeans across the main part of the Corn Belt. So this is very beneficial rain for all involved. Yeah, I know there's a lot of severe weather reports, but we need to balance that out with the desperation for rain in this part of the country. Now here's what the most recent system looked like. Again, we've had a very active pattern, but getting into late in the night on March 29th into early morning on the 30th, we have our newest system kind of curling up right here in the central part of the United States. And along the front straight to its south, we have some severe weather breaking out here along the lower Mississippi River Valley, but a lot of thunderstorm activity moving through parts of Missouri where we need that rain. A big shield of precipitation here on the northern side of this system, but we need to be watching where this is going over the coming days as it will spread rain across fields here, kind of in the heart of the Corn Belt. So let's take a look at what we need to be watching out for. First, Thursday, March 30th, big severe weather threat here in the lower and mid-Mississippi River Valley. You can see a large area where they have a slight risk for severe thunderstorms, but we're also kind of bullseyeing this area in here in parts of Tennessee and Mississippi as potentially having some higher frequency and certainly some stronger storms moving right into this area. So we got to keep our eye out on this part right in through here, but definitely thunderstorm risk getting all the way up into parts of Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana as we get into Thursday, March 30th. Now, here's what the forecast is holding for Thursday the 30th all the way through Sunday, April 2nd. We're going to watch that system. Let's watch it again here. That's going to take off here in Missouri, cut across Illinois, Indiana, and head on off to the northeast. As it does so, it's going to bring a pretty soggy day on Thursday into parts of Friday here for this part of the country. Again, the severe thunderstorm threat's primarily down here, but expect showers and thunderstorms across a big section of the Corn Belt right in through here. Now, as this system exits, I'm watching another one take shape here off of the Rocky Mountains, and that's just going to be our next system kind of in this train of systems that's going to be coming through. So a lot going on in the pattern right now. And I want you to see it in terms of the total accumulated precipitation. You see, from early Thursday morning through Sunday, April 2nd, we're watching a map that's animating the total depth of rainfall that we're expected to accumulate with that time period. You can see a lot of thunderstorm activity dumping quite a bit of rain across a big chunk of the Corn Belt. Again, this rain had already fallen in parts of Texas and Oklahoma on the previous days. So that's what we're looking out for here as we get into our weekend. Now, why is it so active? Well, this is a map that shows us the jet stream. These are the winds about 6 miles above our heads. And when you see it, it has lots of these very shortwave troughs and ridges all lined up going across the Pacific Ocean. This just tells you to look out for a lot of repeated storm system kind of development right here in the central part of the country as each one of these waves moves itself over the Rocky Mountains. So very, very active weather pattern continues. Now, by Saturday and Sunday, we do need to be watching out again for those same regions that just got hit with some strong storms on the 28th, 29th, and 30th. Again, look at this. Oklahoma, Texas, parts of Louisiana, parts of Texas on Sunday. Watch these two regions if you are farming down in this part of the country. But getting on here, this is the total precipitation accumulation as forecast by NOAA for the next 5 days beginning on March 29th. So you can see the storms here that are firing right now in parts of kind of the Arklatex area getting over toward Mississippi, quite a bit of rain. But we can also see that system bringing a lot of rain in here into parts of Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, and parts of Michigan, even parts of Wisconsin and Iowa. But this is rain where we need rain. Now, a lot of folks are asking, are we going to get some drier weather where I can start to get in the field, maybe get some of that early planting done? And what you're watching here is an animation by the GFS model. Now, as you watch this, you're seeing 24-hour precipitation amounts. This is accumulated rain. I'm having you watch this so that you can see that really over the next 10 to 15 days, we have a pretty active weather pattern, suggesting that we're not going to be seeing any long-term kind of dryouts just yet as we get into the first week of April. I also want to point this out as well. By the time we do get into the first full weekend of April, so we're talking about April 7th, 8th, and 9th, we are seeing the overall flow pattern of the atmosphere potentially sliding itself back into a trough pattern here across the eastern third of the country. Now, while this ridge in the middle part means warmth building across a big section of the country, so a lot of the Great Plains, we could be transitioning to some cooler weather here, maybe stretching from parts of Illinois into Indiana, Ohio, and then, of course, to the northeast. We got to keep an eye on this. There's not a whole lot of certainty in exactly how this will evolve, but I'm just telling you, remember that it's still early April that we're talking about here. A lot of this area, it has its last frost mid to the end of April, so just something to keep on a lookout for as you're getting anxious to get into your fields. And let's just do a quick long-term outlook here. This is the next 32 days, looking at the average precipitation anomaly as forecast by the European model. That active jet stream pattern is keeping the middle part of the country, where we have drought, wet. And this is a good thing for the pre-season kind of planting time period to get moisture into this part of the country. So we got to keep a very close eye out on how active the severe weather is, but at the same time, be looking out for erosion of that drought, which would be a good thing. So with that, I'll go ahead and wrap up our forecast. Thank you so much for your attention. We hope you look forward to our next Ag Forecast. Thank you.